Hello everyone and welcome back to Mass Reflect. This is part 2 of our dissection into the Mass Effect universe, in which we are obviously looking at Mass Effect 2. Arguably, and I think correct in everybody's minds, the best Mass Effect game. But joining me today, I have someone I've promoted from the ranks of an Elcor ambassador or something like that last week to now special agent of the Hanar, the guy who's replaced Blasto because he had to retire. We have Rob.
Okay, I'll take it. That's definitely an upgrade. I know nothing really about Blasto, but I'll take it.
Do you know? I mean, did you not spot like the Blasto reference? Like they talk about it when you're walking around on Ilium and you hear them talking about like the latest trailer for Blasto. And did you not catch any of that? In 3, though, I think there are literal movie posters for Blasto, so keep an eye out for Blasto. I'll have to keep a look.
He was the first Hanar Spectre, wasn't he? So,
well, he's not real.
Definite. Oh,
yes, he is, Ben.
No, he's a movie character. The whole point is that he's like the lead character in a movie franchise inside the Mass Effect universe. It's amazing. So it's just this weird meta thing. I love it. Anyway, that was, as you may have heard speaking there, because he didn't wait for his introduction. He didn't wait. He can't wait. He's too excited to talk about Mass Effect 2. I think we're going to go with... should we go with like a Turian Commando? I think we'll go with a Turian Commando, Special Ops Turian Cam.
Well, it's definitely a promotion from the damn Volus I was last week, so I'll take
cool.
that.
I mean, yeah, you've stepped up. Now you're in Mass Effect 2. You've gone to Turian.
Step up. I don't need a step ladder anymore. That's what I'm happy about.
And I think we're going to go for the first ever Krogan Spectre. Not a lot of stealth here. Not a lot of stealth. Very much bull in a china shop. Just all the shotguns you can give them. So the Krogan Spectre, Leah is joining us. You down with that?
Never used a shotgun in Mass Effect at all. Ever.
I guess you'd be more like, what race is Thane?
A Drell.
Drell. So maybe you'd be like a Drell sniper. I feel like they'd be good snipers. Like
they
are.
Yeah.
Is it Drell? I always forget Thane. I always forget his entire race. I guess you don't see a lot of them, do you? You just see him and someone else in subsequent games we won't spoil for Cam.
And his son.
Yeah, and his son. It's the only one I can think of.
ME2.
Oh, is that in 2, is it? ME2?
Yeah.
It's a lot more in 3, though, isn't there? About all of that. So
we're not spoiling it for Cam.
that's why I was trying to not spoil it for
guys.
Cam. And I'm here, Ben, as well. And I'm going to put my hands up and go, I'm out of the 4 of us, I'm the only one that did not complete Mass Effect 2 ready for this podcast. I've obviously completed it before. But no, I've let the squad down here. I've let the squad down. If we were going into the suicide mission, I would not survive. I think that's as simple as that.
You failed your loyalty mission.
Yeah, I failed the loyalty mission. Shit. I am not on the squad. I've been left on the planet.
We're not angry, Ben. We're just disappointed.
I'm disappointed too, Rob. I'm disappointed too. I don't have any excuses. I had the time. I just don't know why I didn't. Do you know what? I spent too much time flying to every planet I could, probing it, because that is the most chill minigame ever.
So you were the invading alien with the probes.
I love to probe. I don't know. Actually, #live to probe.
Actually, #live to probe.
#live to probe. That might be the subtitle for the episode.
I will actually agree with you. I found probing the planets in this one. I spent a lot of time doing that because, as you all know, my son Dexter, the weird little nerd that he is, he can name all of the planets in our solar system. So now I'm teaching him all the other planets on the solar system in the galaxy and their solar systems. So every time we find like a new planet that's kind of funky, he didn't want to learn the name. He wanted to name it himself. The conqueror of space that he is.
I like the idea that he's in school and is like, can you name some planets? And he comes up with all these Mass Effect planets, and the teacher's just like, what?
Well, the teacher's a Mass Effect nerd as well and goes, yes, Tachanka.
No, to be honest, he's 3.5 years old, and the fact he knows like all the planets in the solar system is actually it freaks out some teachers who don't realize that he knows them all because they just go, "Hey, how does he know that?"
Right, you got to get onto the moons. There's loads around like Jupiter, so that's the
Like
next step.
68 around Jupiter.
Yeah.
I think we've got plenty of time to learn them.
That would really freak him out then, wouldn't it? Imagine he starts like naming the Martian moons and stuff. You know, that'd be pretty cool. They've got some great.
I taught him those
Can you
ones
remember
because
one?
they were in Destiny too.
Which one can you remember?
Ganymede.
Ganymede. I always go Demos. I like Demos.
And you got Phobos as well.
Phobos. Rob said
Because
Phobos.
that one's in Destiny 2.
Yes.
I think it's 2.
That might
So Rob
be
definitely
where I
knows
know
that
it from.
To be fair, I know Demos because of the Doom franchise. So
Who said video games were not education?
learn stuff.
Oh, that's clearly a
Learn
lie.
Learn stuff. Right. So Mass Effect 2. Where do we begin? Where do we want to begin? How do we want to tackle this? Because obviously the first thing to bear in mind is that, unlike Mass Effect 1, the Legendary Edition here hasn't made as drastic a sort of suite of improvements to 2 as we saw in 1. I mean, 1 is night and day, almost entirely different game, whereas 2 is just runs nice. You know, the load times are, wow, oh my god, so good. They just
That
oh my
actually
God.
upset me.
What do you mean?
I really like the Mass Effect 2
Yes.
load screens when you're on the Normandy because it shows you going from floor to floor. And in this one, you just go.
Right, going into the
Oh,
captain's
but I wanted
cabin, especially.
I wanted the animation. But
nothing.
Animation, please? There was nothing. I was really sad. I was like, no, where's my loading screen? Why am I sat here wishing for loading screens? That was the
Nostalgic.
situation I found myself in.
Nostalgic for loading screens. That is curious.
Well, I guess where I could start then as a man who literally finished the final mission about an hour and a half ago. Wow. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Wow. What a great game. I admit I found the final end boss a little lackluster there,
A
personally.
little bit weird.
A little bit. But I managed to finish. I kept my entire squad alive. I did the loyalty missions for everyone. I got really worried because a friend told me that if I don't choose right with certain people in certain situations, they could die. And then as the doors were closing, I had Garrus as a squad leader, and he had like a glancing blow bounce off of his armor, and I was like, I cannot lose Garrus, please. I thought that might have been like a fatal decision I've made wrong right there and then, but it was just like ping. I was like, oh, thank God. I couldn't lose Garrus after 2 games. Honestly, that would have been devastating.
That final mission is one of the most simultaneously enjoyable and tense final missions I think I have ever played in any video game. Because even though I've got a guide telling me who to pick and that everyone is going to be fine because you pick this person for that and that person for that, I still worry.
Yes.
The guide? I went in
yeah.
it blind. I went in it completely blind.
Respect, Cam. I mean, and to be fair, it's not hard. I mean, it's like,
No.
oh, we need to do a tech thing. Think about your tech characters. Oh, we need to do a biotic
that
thing.
was-
Think
it
about
was
your
some
biotic
logical
characters.
choices
Yeah,
made
it's
there,
not.
yeah.
Think, oh, we need to hold the line against lots of forces. Well, who's a good soldier? You know, it's like, and each one has 2 or 3 answers that you can give, and it'll be all right. As long as they're all loyal, you're fine.
Who-
I do the same each time.
Go on then. I've not got there this time around, so go on. Who did what?
Okay. So I do Tally for tech and Gareth to lead the other squad. I then always take Thane and Morden with me because they're the 2 weakest fighters, and when they're with you, they're better.
Wow.
I use Samara for the biotics when you have to go through the Seeker Swarm thing, and I send Grunt back with the people that you rescue because he can basically take care of everyone.
Oh, interesting.
So, okay.
That's
I actually-
controversial.
I actually sent Morden back to protect everyone because I thought he would be a weaker fighter in the final.
Exactly what most of the internet says.
Okay.
Send Morden
Interesting.
back with the crew because he's useless.
Smart though.
That's
If you bring Morden with you, he can't die. That's smart too. That's clever because if he's your squad mate, he's not going to get written out off screen. So that's a good way of dealing with that. That's pretty cool, babe. Yeah. So there's a gameplay logic to that as well. Yeah, that's really cool.
Mm.
I can't remember what I've done in the past, but I think it's obvious, isn't it? Like you've got a couple of techs, like Kasumi works in the tech section as well. Zaid works quite good as the protecting guy, because the DLC guys are all basically immune because they're DLC, and therefore they're not written into the possible death situations. So it's quite easy to use both of them. In any decision really, they can't die as far as I know. So because there was no guarantee the players would be using them. So it's quite it's quite cheaty that way. But Grunt's good at I love Grunt. Can we talk about Grunt? Grunt gets a bit of a short shift, I think, because Rex is so epic in every way. Everybody always talks about Rex as the Krogan MVP. Grunt is badass. His character is so cool.
I liked Grunt. Yeah, he was a little badass, and you were kind of going through to be honest, an emotionally turmoil right now for that sort of character, you know. Just then they go into adulthood and they're all kind of like, I want to kill, I want to smash, but I don't know why. It's like, oh yeah, it turns out your balls have dropped, basically. That's the equivalent of sitting down and going, it's hormones. Don't worry.
Yeah, he's brilliant. All right, let's do that. Let's talk about characters. Favorite characters. Number one.
Oh, no, I can't
Legion.
do it. That's too hard.
Straight in.
Legion.
Rob there, hard onto the Geth boy. All over Mr. Geth.
It's difficult. I mean, like I said, we went through so much with Garrus before, so he's my boy right there. But the DLC I went through with Liara as well. She was my romance option again. So I loved her, and the responsibility she takes on is like really kind of self-sacrificing to a point as well. But they both have some great character developments. But like new characters introduced in the squad, though, that's a tough choice. Because like I said, Grunt was awesome. There wasn't much development really when it came with Kasumi and Zaid as well. Because they're DLC characters, which is a bit of a shame because Kasumi was actually quite interesting, like little mission when it popped up in the Citadel.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a tough question.
I think come on, Morden.
Morden is a funny character.
I have to ask: did everyone get him to do the Patter song from Gilbert and Sullivan?
No, I missed out on that. Unfortunately, I don't think.
What the hell is that?
Oh my god!
All right,
I'm not going to sing it.
Sing it.
I'm not singing it.
Sing it.
We've had a conversation.
You know the words. Sing it.
I don't know all of them.
You know enough.
Sing it. I'm not singing. No. This is my Scientist Solarian t-shirt. But basically, he does... I'm going to do a little bit of it. And I'm stopping halfway through. He goes, I am the very model of a Scientist Solarian. Of study species Turiasaurian. And he goes on like that. And it's brilliant. I love it. Every time you have to get him to do it. It's so funny. What?
The first time I played Mass Effect 2, I did get that. It's just in this playthrough, I hadn't got that from him because I hadn't talked to him enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he's a brilliant character. I don't think I ever took him on a mission that wasn't his loyalty mission, ever, because he's a bit useless. He's there for tech and character development and for filling out the genophage. That's what he's there for.
I don't know. I have a squad mate quite often. I like pairing him with someone like Grunt or Garrus and stuff. I actually found myself mixing up my squad members a lot this time round. Not just sticking to a regular pair and just, especially as I'm playing on normal. I mean, I'm someone that's beaten this on insanity, so where you have to do the optimized runs, specific builds, specific, taking through very sensible choices. So I was just like, screw it, on normal this is so easy compared to what I've done before that I'm just gonna have fun with pairings that are gonna be like obviously antagonistic. So yeah, putting Morden and Grunt together and getting some fun dialogue out of that was great. The obvious other one would be Legion and Tali and how those two interact, and
that was heated.
Yeah, they don't get on, strangely enough. I love what they do with Tali in this one. I really like Tali.
Tali Zora Vas Normandy.
Damn straight.
I love Tali. She was my romance. She's going to be my romance. Tali is the best. She's replaced Liara for me by a long way. because of the characterization you get through Mass Effect 2.
Yeah, they do so much with her in this, whereas she's underserved in the first one. She really grows into a really interesting character in the second game, and then it just carries into the third game and keeps on going basically. So what do you staying on characters? Like, obviously certain characters are hugely sidelined in this. So Ashley and Caden, depending on who you pick, basically is barely in the game, and then Liara is quite sidelined as well until Shadowbreaker. Obviously, remember that was a big bit of DLC. But basically, if you take that out, she's barely in the game as well. What do you guys think about that? Because obviously they keep Garrus in. He's still MVP. He still has a lot to do, and he isn't sidelined after game one. But I thought that was a really interesting choice to do that with such core characters from the first game, to basically remove them from this one.
See,
I think it's quite common for certain like video games. They'll keep, you know, some of the loved characters on, and then they'll bring on some new people to keep things fresh, and then just have like a minor, not too minor. Obviously, sometimes it can be quite a major ramification of like previous characters coming in, like Anderson, for example. You know, he was quite prominent in the first game, even though not as a major character like for your squad. But you know, he was only there for kind of a fraction of like the Citadel, unless you went back and spoke with him. But he doesn't really have any extra, dialogue in there.
All right, I'm gonna put you on your spot. You said it's quite common. Give me some examples. Because I can't think of any.
Dragon Age.
Dragon Age, same developer. Anybody outside of BioWare that you guys can think of? This is what I think.
Borderlands.
Borderlands.
Yes, because
Well, they did that weird thing where they basically that's slightly different.
The characters in Borderlands 1 end up becoming the story NPCs in Borderlands 2 and in Borderlands 3. So
and even in 3, you get a lot of the characters
again.
from some of the 2 people.
Exactly. And then 2 gets that sort of thing. I think
So
I think it's a literary thing.
change their use.
It's a literary thing. It's a TV thing. It's a film franchise thing. It's
See, I think
not that common in games. I guess it's got a lot to do with, this was, especially after the success of the first game, BioWare knew we're going to probably get a trilogy out of this. We can, so the second game feels very much like a middle part of the story, and the third game is basically an epilogue for everything. So you'll see what we mean by that very soon, Cameron. And I think it's the strong middle part, isn't it? It's the dark middle chapter. It's the Empire Strikes Back of the Mass Effect universe. It's at its best.
Great way to put it.
Circling back to the characters and their use, I think it's that they want to, especially using Liara and Morinth and Samara as that sort of the Asari element, they're looking to tell a different type of story, because you get a bit of Asari culture in ME1, and they're going, okay, well, there's a different caste in the Asari society. They want to tell that story between Samara and Morinth. So
very good.
We can't do that with Liara because we have an established history, and we can't have 2 Asari on the squad because no one's going to care. So replace.
Just a little thing I'd say is the reason it only took me up till an hour and a half ago to finish this series is because one of my game saves got corrupted.
Oh no! What happened?
Yeah, I have no idea. So I was, it only took me back a couple of hours, which isn't too bad. But my first playthrough, this was just before I got to the Samara loyalty mission. So it's the difference between Morinth and Samara. I actually changed my mind halfway while replaying it. So I originally went with Morinth because Renegade again. Sorry, and then I found out that I can't sleep with Morinth without dying. Found that out the hard way. And then that game save crashed, so I went, well, why don't I go with Samara and just try it out, And as it turns out, I couldn't sleep with her either, so I was bitterly disappointed.
So you tried to sleep with Morinth so hard that your game died?
It did, yeah. And then I tried to sleep with her mum, and that was a no-go.
All I can think of is there's some fail-safe at play here, where it's like, okay, this guy is such an aberrant freak, we need to fuck his game save. So,
his name probably begins with C.
It's Cameron. We knew he'd do this. Just kill it. Just make him make a move. Just kill it.
Why is this fool asked Legion if he has a vibrate setting?
Is that a dialogue option?
Nope.
Okay, I'm scared.
Well, that's upset
sorry.
me.
And now, Rob, you see what I said about roll those multiple save files? Oh yeah.
Now it
This
makes
is
more
why.
sense, but this is the first scenario I've come across where it's been an issue.
Yeah, it does happen. I don't know why that happened. It does sound unlucky.
I
It's
don't
very
know.
strange.
I don't know what it might have been something to do with like the update that happened a few days ago potentially.
Maybe if you
Never
did you
know.
leave it in like
Maybe.
standby mode or not close the game down completely? I mean, PlayStation 4
I don't
are getting
think
a bit.
I don't think my PlayStation
old.
4 has been on a restart or off mode for about 5 years. It's always been on standby.
It's probably just you keep an eye out for a PS5.
Yeah.
Yeah, those consoles are getting long in the tooth. Is it a standard PS4 or a Pro?
Oh, I can't. Nah, not even a Pro.
Oh
It's
my
the original
God.
one I had from like.
God.
You
I
like
got
living
this when I was
dangerously.
dating my ex, so this is going like 6 or 7 year old PlayStation 4. So the fact it's lasted this long, amazing. You know, this is the age old Reaper coming from the depths of dark space.
Yeah, but this is your
50
sovereign.
50,000
This is
year
my
old.
sovereign, yeah.
Yeah, 50,000-year-old techs coming at you. That's okay. Well, I think we're lucky you've only been corrupted once there. I think that's not bad going. Okay, where were we? Any more characters shout-outs?
What did everyone think of Miranda?
I understand her story. It is a very sad story, and it has a nice little fait accompli and a nice finish. But as far as characters go in Mass Effect 2, I don't really give many shits.
I mean,
No.
come
No.
on. I mean, you gave more shits than you did about Jacob, though, yeah?
Sorry,
To be
who,
honest, I
Jacob?
didn't-
Who? What?
I did the loyalty missions purely because they were there to be done. But like, I didn't really try anything with Miranda or Jacob. I didn't even have them in my team past getting Garrus and somebody else.
As soon as you can switch them out, you do, don't you? I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
get rid of those guys.
It's the Ashley conundrum that I had in the first game. As soon
So,
as it happened. No.
so I kept Ashley alive. Obviously, she's not in this very much, but and I haven't finished the game. But you meet your survivor on Horizon, right? And I had some interesting dialogue where she shuts me down for joining up with Cerberus because they're too extreme. And she actually says something along the lines of, I know I have problems with aliens sometimes, but you've gone too far. And it's like, wow, bitch. Okay. I mean, like, spacist much? Just like, I was quite surprised that's
like
how
a-
they wrote that scene.
Oh my god, that sounds like it's like a white supremacist saying that to Donald Trump.
Yeah, you've gone too far.
It's like, yeah, you're too far,
Mate,
bro.
Dial it
Yeah.
back. Dial
Get
it
it
back.
back.
Yeah, shaved head and everything.
But that's genuinely the scene I get. Remind me, do we get more with Caden / Ashley, or is that it? I can't remember.
You get
Yes.
I don't know. I will say I started like the first like 20 minutes of 3.
No, I meant
finished
not
2.
in. I meant not in 3. I meant in 2. Do you
But
get any more?
no,
in 2?
I-
Oh, no.
No.
No,
Okay.
not in that
That's
one.
literally all you get. That's
You
interesting.
get a letter or an email.
I get an email. Who read
Oh,
it? Did everybody read all their emails all the time? That felt a little bit like hard work, but
That felt like office work to me.
It did a
I've
bit,
got
didn't
enough unread emails in my
Yeah, I
inbox.
had- I had Kelly to deal with my emails, so
yeah.
Yeah.
After she
Yeah.
dealt with something else, if you know what I mean. Mhm.
Yeah, the fish in the office.
Mhm. Did we all like collecting fish and models? I like that. I think. Did you get a hamster? Did everybody get their hamster?
I got the space
Hamster.
hamster. I think I got all the models, and then all my fish died because I forgot to feed them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good thing about 3, automatic fish feeder.
Oh my
Brilliant.
god! Yes,
Genius.
I'm happy with that.
Okay.
I'll
So,
tell you
go on.
this about the big surprise that I found in the last person you can get, Legion. Wow. You know, I mean,
Legion is-
interesting character through and through.
really
Um,
cool.
It was really, really cool.
Let's
I
put
mean,
let's put the villain from the first game on your squad.
Yeah.
exactly how it is. Yeah. I mean, my question is, I mean, what did you guys do for his loyalty mission?
I rewrote the heretics.
I believe I rewrote the heretics. Whatever is the paragon option that maintains Legion's survivability, I did.
Cameron didn't. Look at his face. I killed those bastards.
Well,
you-
surprise, surprise!
oh dear.
I did
Oh dear.
actually rewrite the heretics.
That is a shock.
Again, I'm one of those like, yes, I'm renegade and I'm badass bitch of the galaxy, but at the same time, I don't want to see legions and of creatures being genocided for no reason. Even though it's like get things done at all costs, but I don't want to like the Batarians, for example. The mission in Arrival thing was you can warn them before the thing hits, and I tried to warn them. Because I don't want to see a population of 300,000 getting decimated by an idiot. They
die anyway.
They did, unfortunately.
But you've got to try.
But yeah, in my heart of hearts, I know I tried.
Stand there, you're on your knees. Why? Like this,
You blow it up!
What classes did everyone go with? Because obviously, Cap and I got the opportunity to choose the classes we wanted.
I was still Vanguard, yeah, so...
I assumed you Vanguard, and I assumed you're still Infiltrator, Leah.
Oh, yes.
What class did you go for, Cam?
Oh, I changed it up. So last time I went Soldier, generic, but this time I went Biotic. So I had a little play around with, all the
Which
all
one?
The powers and stuff.
Sentinel, Adept?
Adept, I think it was. I had submachine guns. And I gotta say, I was a bit surprised at a gameplay perspective that, it was cool. It was cool to have the powers. I completely freely admit that I chose wrong in the first game, okay? Because I never used any of my, commando-given powers. But I was really surprised that I had, no access to, to all the weapons that I had in the first game. I couldn't use shotguns, I'd have to unlock a sniper rifle or a assault rifle later on. And I was stuck to having either a machine pistol or a submachine gun. I thought that it'd just be like a bonus, like bonus damage with submachine guns, because that's what I'm good with, and then I can use whatever I want. But no, I was stuck with just submachine guns, and I was really surprised by that.
Okay, that. What about you? Before we go on to that, Rob, did you go with the one you said you were going to?
Sentinel. Every time I go Sentinel, I want that mix of tech and biotic.
There's a fun combo. So let's talk about those gameplay changes that you see from 1 to 2, right? So there's some quite pronounced shifts. So obviously, first thing is the progression system, the leveling system is way pared back, lots less options, very much like a streamlined amount of points, a streamlined amount of choices even. There's a lot less in there. Then obviously the combat's really different, the gun loadouts are really different, like that you were just talking about. And obviously you're not comparing stats and looking at power, and all that kind of crap like you would in a normal RPG. You basically, you have your type of weapon, and for all intents and purposes, they all kind of do the same damage. They just play maybe a little bit differently, or you've got different buffs for them and stuff, and depending on your class and stuff. And then armor, right? So armor is now basically again that level of stat-based choice is gone. There are some buffs and stuff, and you have loads more freedom to actually create a fucking badass looking shepherd. I love the fact that I can put on bulky heavy armor, look crazy, change all the colors up, do whatever I want with my shepherd to make him my guy. And there's loads of options in there, which obviously were originally DLC, piecemeal DLC, which are now all included within the game as well. So how did you guys feel about those changes and stuff, and how they affect your enjoyment and stuff?
I wanted more detail for leveling up. I like the detailed level up systems. The more the better for me. Give me 10 skill points to level up, and for me to assign them how I want. That's what I like.
Pen and paper D&D guy right here.
Yep.
100%.
Right there. When it came to the armor, I put the collector armor pieces on and never took them off, because they gave the bonuses that I liked the most. That backfired on me slightly when it came to the cutscenes, because the armor didn't come off.
You look like a prat. You look like a right prat.
People were hugging the collector armor shepherd. When you meet Liara and she kisses you on the cheek, she kisses the collector armor and phases through the helmet.
Yeah,
it's just
I had that a lot.
Polygons.
See, my armor choice, I went with the Kestrel armor.
Same. Yeah, I'm a Kestrel guy.
They had a lot of good weapons and everything buffs for it, and it was cool to play around with them. Some of them had negotiation type tactics included in them, which was really cool. But in the end, I had so many credits, and to be honest, because I was a renegade, every shop I went into, I just went in and went, "Give me a discount," and they go, "No," and you go, all right,
Yes.
racist, and they go, whoa, okay, have a discount.
Weren't they all your favourite shops on the Citadel?
Yes, they were.
Oh, yeah.
Kestrel for me as well has got a nice mixture of buffs like that are very sort of offensive, but some defensive ones as well. I can tell you that was DLC armor as well, from what I remember. So that was something that was added later on, and I know you find it all on Ilium, but it's so cheap. Like, it's not even expensive. Most of the DLC armor they've done, they've spread it out. It's great, but they definitely don't make it hard for you to buy it all, because it's all at like 5, 6, 7,000 or whatever, which is absolutely nothing. Like peanuts in that game. Yeah, the economy in that game is broken. If you're bringing across some serious money from the first game, it's silly. It's silly.
Even if you're not, because let's face it, I never got the chance to amass serious currency in the first game.
Yeah.
Even if you're not, it's not a problem.
I will say that one major change from the first to the second game, I kind of got my goat a little bit, and that was the elusive man is a great character. Martin Sheen,
I know,
as the voice actor,
how good,
such a prominent voice. It wasn't like it was a great mixture. You know, it's got a commanding voice, and yet at the same time there's some subtlety of like, what's he doing behind the voice? You know what I mean? But it was just like at the end of each mission, you had that kind of like mission debrief thing that happened. Like, it tells you how many points you got, what you picked up, what happened at the end. I feel like that little mission debrief like took me out of the experience a little bit, compared to like the first one where you just go like, you just check your journal, what happened. Okay, cool. You know, but that's in your own time. Whereas, like, at the end of each mission, it's like, da-dun, this is what you did.
I think what they're trying to say is that you're sending a report to the elusive man, and it's because you're working for him. So it's like, here's the report of what went on the mission. I think
I
that's
leveled up.
Well,
I found
that's
200 platinum.
Well, that you would say that, wouldn't you? Though I found these resources. You know, I accrued this money. You know, it's all part of like, you know, you're kind of accountable to him. So I think that's kind of the in-universe explanation, though it's just a summary, isn't it? I totally see where you're coming from. It can break up that narrative flow a little bit, but I didn't mind it. I like having that sort of bookend. It makes you go, oh, I've done a thing and I've got some stuff for it. And, from a gameplay perspective,
Speaking of reporting to the elusive man, in your final mission, what did you guys do?
What did you do with it? Yeah, destroy the base.
As did I. I exploded it to hell.
Why the fuck would you give this to the elusive man? Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I'm a spacist.
I felt like it was not necessarily going to the elusive man at all, but like it was just too much power for one man to have, or for any organization to have. So that's why I bombed it.
Bombed that shit. I think I've always bombed it. Yeah, you got to bomb.
Yeah.
So back to gameplay. How about you, Leah? Like, you've not said a lot. How do you find the combat in 2 and stuff?
I love the combat in 2. For me, playing the original 1 and going to 2, it was just so much better. It was so much snappier. You have my 2 favourite sniper rifles, the Viper and the Widow. I love the Widow. It's amazing. And it was just night and day, because it was snappier, it's easy to move around, you don't have fatigue when you're running, which is good, and you don't get giddy when you're running as well.
How many cock shots did you do this game?
Quite a lot.
I literally saw Leah playing it for 5 minutes and saw 3 cock shots in that time.
I did, however, get the Headhunter achievement, so I was shooting people in the head as well.
Different head.
Just what I was going to say.
So yeah, no, it's brilliant, and I really enjoy being able to colour change. Oh, hello.
He's really showing
Hayden.
off right there. He was like, check me out, I am handsome. Yeah.
Well, he is named after Caden from Mass Effect.
He is
so he should
indeed.
do.
Yeah. That's the cat.
So I really enjoyed being able to change the colour of my armour. I mean, I did various bits and I had piecemeal armour and whatnot, but I always liked, for some reason, being Shepard and being in blood red armour. Don't know why. It's just really fun.
Yeah, no, I definitely go for that red look in the armor. Kestrel for the most part once I've got it, but I only ever mix up the N7 bits because I find those complete sets a bit restrictive. You know, like the Blood Dragon set and the Collector set and the Inferno set and the Cerberus set and stuff. It's cool. I always have them, but they're nice to be in my wardrobe and go, ooh, I could wear that today, but I'm not
Wear
gonna.
that? No.
Not gonna. Yeah, I gameplay in 2, it's not quite as good as 3. It's still a big step up from 1. Like the cover mechanic is snappy and feels much better. Just aiming in general. I just want to talk briefly about the leveling. I totally agree with Rob. I really do miss the points and the different bars of what I can spec into and upgrade, and they pare it back a little too far into to make it a bit more of a wide appeal. I think there's more in 3. Again, it goes back in the other direction, but not as much as 1, but more, and they find the sweet spot, don't they? I love one thing I do love is the Paragon and Renegade interrupts are so much fun. How to make a cutscene engaging, give the player some agency in it. It's great.
Absolutely, that was so good. Being able to like walk up to someone and say like, "Hey, I need information. 1 second, I'm busy." It's okay. What do you need? Oh, that. Oh, it was so good, so good.
Did you
do
always
a
hit
few
the
bit of
Renegades?
Renegades.
Did you? Oh.
I did. I know. I always do. I've got like 3 bits of Renegade that I do. So it's
I don't think I ever hit L2.
when that Krogan comes out when you're on Morden's loyalty mission, and he's the speaker for Clan Warlock, and he's just ranting on, and you shoot the gas, and then he goes, "Oh, you missed," and the Krogan around him and go, I love that bit. And then dropping that bloke off of the Dantius Towers when you're on when you're collecting Thane. The Eclipse guy.
Oh yeah,
you just put
like,
him out the window.
My friends will hear me. You're like, okay, bye.
And there's one other thing that I do. They're the 3 Renegade things that I do.
I can't remember if it was a Renegade option or just a conversation piece of doing Grunt's loyalty mission, and you meet Rex and the other clan member, and you just headbutt the fucker.
Yeah.
You just full on. He's just bitching at you, and you just.
Yeah, it's Grunt's loyalty mission when you're talking to the shaman before you go off. That was it.
Yeah.
I played Paragon the whole way through because I wanted to be Paragon, but because I filled the bar up, because I got the right things that buffed the amount of Paragon and Renegade points you got, I filled Paragon, so then started being a dick. I have been nice for too long, and now you all annoy me. Was basically what happened.
Like an angry Canadian. The Canadian they get.
Yeah.
They've been too good for too long. Screw it.
I love how a filled-in bar dictated your gameplay style. I think that's really fun.
Yes. I couldn't earn more points for the bar. The bar was full.
And you accused me of min-maxing. Oh my god. Oh my god.
How is that min-maxing? I maxed something and then worked on the min.
It's min-maxing. That's the definition of it. That is min-maxing.
Yeah, isn't Rob max minning?
Yeah, max minning, not min-maxing. God.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Get it right. Jeez.
I'm sorry. I love how the game and the dialogue sort of on the Normandy mixes in the upgrades and stuff for the various features of the ship, and like for class specific or character specific upgrades are within like the character dialogue options. I think that's really cool. It just makes you feel like it connects you all. So let's talk about how the story is delivered, because the first game is classic space opera, right? It's a classic like 50s era through 70s era space opera, grand and sweeping and moves at an incredible pace. The second game has got such a different feel. It basically is very, very personal. It's all about these individuals. You've got that wider story, but really it's about getting to know characters, and there's not a happy story in there. Everything is very, very grim. How did you take that tone? Did it ever feel like oppressive or a bit over the top? Because if you think about basically every single character's backstory and every single loyalty mission is around pain, suffering, loss, manipulation, horrible shit, which is, don't get me wrong, quite realistic to to life. Everybody has those things that people suffer through, but it does lose a little something about that kind of optimistic-y feeling of one. There's a little bit of a Star Trek vibe to one, whereas this is very much a different beast, a much more serious.
It was very kind of ironic to have such a huge group of aliens show a huge amount of humanity, in name at least. Anyway, I mean, you're right. There is very little happy ending. Like Tali's mission. She's lost her father, for God's sake, and she's been accused of treason, which is huge thing to happen. And then I think I generally can't think of any happy ending.
Lots of really bad dad shit. Thane, bad dad shit. Miranda, bad dad shit. Jacob, bad dad shit. I mean, it's like Morden's all about basically fucking entire species, and it's
technically Zaid gets his revenge, and that's it. That's the only happy ending I can find.
Rob, go on, Rob.
Morden's is the one that stood out with me the most because of watching him go down and justify himself and have that denial that no, I was right. I've determined I was right, so I'm right.
And then his protege.
Yeah, and he's confronting Malon and going, okay, maybe I'm not.
But still,
we
exercise extreme caution.
It's soul tearing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely, it's heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking.
Having that mission happen, especially when the Krogan are down to 90% death of their numbers. A fraction of what their population should be.
I think it's more like 0.1. I think it's 1 in 1,000.
It's ridiculous.
1 in 1,000 kids die. It's one of those things you don't ever think about, like with a populace, that might have problems like this. You think, oh, they're everywhere. I was like, yeah, not really at all. These ones have probably lived for the last 500 years since the genophage came around, sort of thing.
No wonder the Krogan are so fucking angry.
Absolutely.
I would be too in that position. No wonder Erdnot Rex is doing what he does to try and go, no, we need to unite ourselves to sort our shit out collectively.
Question, for Morden's mission and the genophage research that his protege was doing, I mean, what did you guys do? That's what I'm quite curious about.
Saved it.
Yeah. I saved it.
What did you do on your first playthrough, Ben?
Oh, I'm always a fucking goody two shoes, so I would have saved it.
Yeah.
I mean, again, as a renegade, I did save it as well. Because I feel like it's as if they suffered enough sort of situation. Because if they can make a heartless renegade bastard like myself feel, Jesus, these guys, which basically nearly wiped out the entire galaxy, should live. That's just impressive storytelling, right? Down to a T.
I mean, I saved a bug queen, so
So did I.
doesn't even talk.
Yeah.
So I'm saving the Krogans.
Did you guys enjoy the little cameo you get from the Rachni Queen?
Yes.
Her envoy.
Yeah, the little side chick turns up,
Rachni envoy.
saying, "What's up?"
I quite like the Thorian chick as well. She shows up as well on Ilium as well.
Yes. And she's green, isn't she?
So let's.
She's green. Yeah.
All right. Before we talk about, I've got a question for you. Can you think of any other game that deals with story and character like Mass Effect 2? Past, present, before it, after it, because I can't. I can't think of a single game that takes things as serious with as well written interactions and a lot of it.
Spec Ops: The Line.
Damn you, Rob. In terms of interactions, there isn't a lot there.
Yeah,
but in terms of
subject seriousness,
storytelling,
the writing that it takes you through, the events, the character shaping moments that you go through, yes. The agency within those choices, no.
So that segues me nicely. Agency. That's the next thing. Agency. Okay. So we get, the Thorian cameo, the Rachni cameo. There's a few others. Rob, I know you've already been feeling the sting in 3, but we won't go into that too much now. But at this point in 2, how do you feel? How did you feel about your choices in 1? How did you feel about how they were reflected in 2? Did you feel like there was an impact at this point?
You could feel your choices had reverberated through. I could see the ripples, because obviously you get those cameos, you get those things, you get characters come back, but at the same time, there's no huge payoff.
There's no
payoff
like
that I'd be
galaxy shifting
expecting.
paradigm, is there?
Yeah, there's no Rachni Empire that you happen across.
I'd say 2 years. I mean,
You know what I mean? You know,
I
it doesn't
think-
happen yet.
I
Hey,
think the
those guys
most-
breed like Rachni.
the most egregious thing that annoys me is that right at the beginning of 2, the council's there, and they're still singing the same song they did in 1, and they're still
The Reapers don't
denying.
exist.
They're still denying the existence of the Reapers. They're still downplaying Sovereign. They're still
I'm-
downplaying Saren, and you're just like, you could perhaps make an argument for that being believable, or you could just say they want to make this accessible to new players. Like,
I'm just going to gesture at a lot of the government in this world.
I mean,
How is it not the same?
it's so.
exactly
I
what
think
they would
perhaps
do.
you've got. We are looking to make it accessible, but also we have a fairly reasonable reason for this to make sense as well. So yeah. So that was, I guess 2 years later, the Reapers haven't shown up out of dark space all of a sudden. It's fairly easy for them to sort of sweep things under the rug and pretend it's
Get back
not
to
a
their
problem
politicking.
yet.
Yeah,
'Cause it will
exactly.
Okay. No, I mean, so at this time in 2, it feels like you have, you've left the footprints in the snow, and they are there.
It feels like, for me personally, like even though there is some fantastic storytelling in this game, that it could have been almost like an offshoot. Not necessarily fully tied into the universe that's happened, because there are so little major ramifications of what happened from
Interesting.
1.
It's almost like it's almost like it
personally,
doesn't
at
need
least,
to be
yeah.
Shepard, is what you're saying, isn't it?
Yeah, it could have been somebody else's story at this point.
They fucking kill him, right? So let's talk about that opening. Shepard is dead in the first 5 minutes of this game, right?
How did you react to that first time playthrough, though? Because when I picked the game up, I had no attachment. Because when I picked ME2 up the first time, it was the first instance of Mass Effect I gave a shit about. So, oh look, my character's dead. Oh look, it's fine. But knowing there's a trilogy there, how did you react to that moment of, why is my character dying?
So there was a trailer, wasn't there, Ben, that came out like months and months before Mass Effect came out, that pretty much kind of indicated, oh crap, it looks like the Normandy is blown up and Shepard is dying. And for months we were like, is it going to be anything?
Yeah.
Is it going to be Shepard? What's
Speculation.
happened?
There was a lot of speculation about, are they going to do a Metal Gear 2, and is it going to be an entirely different character leading this series? Yeah.
I think the first time you saw it, you lost your shit, didn't you?
I fucking freaked the fuck out. Yeah, basically. Me and the 4 other people that had played the obscure RPG known as Mass Effect at that time on the Xbox 360 were freaking out. Yeah. So how about you? How did you take that?
You compare that to Metal Gear 2, Metal Gear 2. You said there. I mean, like, sorry, but if Shepard removed his helmet and I saw Raiden again, I would have flipped my shit.
No!
This blonde mother, Jesus.
Not the blonde ninja twat. No.
No, you mean that ninja at that point? Oh, just a half-assed whiny boy.
Okay.
But no, I mean that opening was fantastic.
Oh, it's insane, isn't it?
Oh man, I loved the interaction you had with Joker like throughout the game. He was a lot more
Real character,
a huge character in it now. I love the mission you play as him for that short time, but it's just little bits that they remember to carry on from the previous game as well. Like when you save him from the bridge and force him basically to get into a shuttle to evacuate, and he's like, careful of my arm, sort of thing. He's like, you basically just broke his arm by grabbing him, because of this brittle bone disease, you see that, and suddenly you're floating off into space and like basically
Grasping at
burning up an
yourself
atmosphere. Yeah,
convulsing as you can't breathe, and all of it. I think what's amazing there is, it's you're taking, for all intents and purposes, a superhero, and you're making him nothing, just another person, and he's dead, right?
Yeah.
And then you reset, and then the most fucking science fiction Deus Ex Machina, like of them all, the Lazarus Project comes into play, which is a great opening sequence to the game. Really cinematic.
Yeah.
Really
$6 billion
evocative.
man music starts playing.
Yeah, basically. And then we will rebuild him.
We will rebuild him. He'll be faster, stronger, smarter.
And then it's like, yeah, I like that dialogue you get not much longer with Miranda, which is, yeah, I'd have put a control chip in your head. It's like, oh shit now, I wouldn't have let you be free thinking. No way. And you're like, okay, Miranda, you a bitch.
Yeah.
We don't like
you're
you.
going in this little box where we don't give a shit about the box.
Stay in your office. But
I will say one thing about Miranda. I know the actress that voiced her, which is Yvonne Strahovski, and I got to say,
Chuck.
the facial capture they did for her.
Yeah, it looks
I'm
like it,
assuming
yeah.
they did facial capture. It looks really like her. It's really well
Except
done.
for the
Really enjoyed
weirdly
that.
large forehead. That does seem to go on for quite a while into her hairline.
I'm just saying
Well,
that
no,
nobody
I
can
guess
park on it, but but I can't talk at this moment due to
Yeah.
I can have the
Nobody
the
park on
whole.
it. Yeah.
No, actually, the
Citadel.
sovereign on mine.
Sovereign
I
on
have the
your
sovereign
forehead.
land on my forehead. Give me a few more years, I'll have the whole Citadel on it.
While we're still talking about the beginning, I've got to give a shout out to what is to me the most beautiful moment of the game. Right, just so stunning, and it's a tiny moment, and I wonder if you guys notice it. But every time it gets me, and every time I stop and I look around in this moment, so it's on board the original Normandy. That baby, we love that ship, right? It's so important to us at that point, right? And you look around, and it's when you walk out into the vacuum bit where the control center was, it's
And, like, the
destroyed.
whole
It's around you, and it's
feeling it's
silent because it's vacuum. And I just, yeah, the skybox. So I always stop, take in that silence, look around. You know, you got the floating chairs that react to you when you walk through them. Beautiful touch.
A nice touch.
Really nice touch. And I always look around up at the planet behind me, and it's just like, oh my, that is stunning. Like emotionally, visually, stylistically, that's them setting out, you know, the game right there, and it's just so impressive. Like technically, everything about that is such a wonderful moment. And then you obviously go and talk to Joker, and it just keeps going from there, and you're like, holy
The
shit.
bit that gets me is where Joker is sitting there and he's refusing. He's like, I
You
can
won't
still
leave.
save her.
Yeah, you
And
want
I'm-
to
and
give
I-
up. No.
And I'm going, I know, but you can't. I want you to, but you can't. Damn it, Joker. It's just, I love that bit. It's, oh.
Yeah,
My
so
interactions with Joker throughout that game was a nice breath of fresh air. Seth Green did some amazing voice work for this game. You know, very surprising for Seth Green, because usually whenever I hear his voice, I just see Chris Griffin in my head.
Well, let's. All right.
Which, let's be honest, if Chris Griffin was voicing Joker instead, it'd be a very different feel to the game.
Let's talk about Joker's standout moment, because that is a crazy sequence, isn't it? Halfway through the game,
Unshackle the AI.
I mean, no, it's taking control of him. It's absolutely mad that he becomes the player character. It's like, who the hell saw that coming? When you're
one,
in
that's
control
right.
of hobbling Joker, trying to save the fucking day. It's like,
Oh yeah, hobbling Joker, make fun of the paralyzed guy, why don't you?
he does shuffle around like a zombie. I mean,
He
come on.
does. I mean, the thing is though, you can't expect him to sprint to the elevator with
No.
legs still
But
intact.
man, isn't that
afterwards,
like?
can you?
Isn't that? All of a sudden, it's a survival horror game, and it's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
tense and scary, and you feel so vulnerable, and it's what a creative, brave
He says it.
sequence.
He says it himself. It's like, what am I going to do? Punch them with a broken arm? You know? It's like,
you don't.
Yeah,
you,
you're right.
You don't.
Literally, there was
You don't.
nothing
You didn't
you
enjoy
could
that
have
bit,
done.
Rob. Did you have a bunch of instant fails? Did you
It's-
keep getting caught?
No, I failed once.
Okay.
But it's just because I went upstairs a bit too fast. There's nothing survival horror-y about it.
It's
from
not
my
not in the
perspective.
not in the gameplay, but in
It's
the
just-
vibe. It's survival horror.
If you move at the right pace, you never need to actually stop.
I
It's
never got bored.
impactful.
I think
Yeah.
I could.
It's impactful watching the rest of the crew get taken, and watching them scream in agony and
Did they
try
get
and
taken
give
or
their
did they
lives.
get
Yeah,
collected?
yeah, fair.
Sorry, I couldn't do it. I could let that slide.
They're not called the Takeners. God.
Yeah,
Oh,
God.
that's a different franchise. The Taken. It's impactful seeing that happen much more than it is playing as Joker. Like, being that vehicle for it, I have a more impactful moment of him unshackling Edie and going, yeah, cool. The AI controls the Asimov laws. Gone now. Ooh.
Yeah, I guess because
Have
you've
fun.
at that point that you've established how much he doesn't trust her or hasn't to that
Exactly.
point, and it's like giving her that and that creation of that bond between the two of them and that acceptance of each other, and it's quite beautiful, really, isn't it? And
It was cool, especially because like before that moment, Joker's fully antagonistic against Edie the entire time, but he's just like that's a logical amount of wariness, certainly for an automatic an automated intelligence. He's just kind of questioning things that he's doing.
It's
and
even
stuff
more
like
than
that,
it's
and
even more
just
than
like-
that, right? So Joker doesn't have freedom. He's basically imprisoned in his own body, right? So what gives him freedom? Normandy gives him freedom. So then have the risk there is that Edie will take that away from him. So the whole time he's afraid that he's going to become irrelevant to the operation of the ship and therefore lose the one thing he loves, right? Which is the ability to fly. It gives literally the ability to move around the universe. So yeah, he's terrified of losing that, and I think his performance, like you said, is fantastic. He's this passive aggressive, sour little shit, but you can't help but love the guy. Like he's just like you can't help but root for him, and that's why I think I do really like that moment when you get to drive him, as it were, get to be the player character, because I think maybe I think I see where you're coming from. It could have been more impactful. There could have been more to it. But I still think what they got must have been. I can imagine showing that to someone, at EA or whatever, and going, and now we're going to do, and they're like, what? What now?
It's the ramifications of that moment. It's seeing that what could have been a cutscene essentially happen in real time that I think is the bigger thing. You're playing the FMV sequence.
Yeah.
It
is a bit Quantic Dream, isn't it? It's a bit like, why is this even a game? At that point, like, Heavy Rain / Beyond Two Souls. Well, just make it a fucking QTE movie. Like, what's the point of any of the gameplay here?
I'm glad I've never come. As far as Renegade and Paragon options go, I'm glad there's no real full QTE moments in these games. I feel like for me, QTEs I think take me out of the moment in a lot of games, like having to mash X to run. Really. But I'm glad it's just a livable moment,
Yeah, I really like when she's taking control, and then the first thing she does is make a bad joke, which is brilliant.
Yes. That moment. Oh my god, I love it so much.
Just turns around and is like, prepare to die. Just kidding.
And then the bit where she's opened and expelled all the collectors, and she's going, "Are you all right, Jeff?" And he's going, "No, not really." I just love that bit because already she's changed from calling him Mr. Moreau to Jeff, and I like that bit that they have there.
She's gone from
Really
being
lovely.
a computer to a character. She's now a person.
Yeah,
and it's incredible.
Yeah, and opposite that as well. He's in the after exiting the Omega 4 relay, into the collector space. Obviously, he's kind of relying on her to help, fight off the attacking collector ship as well. Which I will say, like I said, I didn't lose any characters this game, which is great. But after I finished the game, I did look back on how you can lose different characters. My God, am I glad I upgraded the whole ship.
Yes.
I sat there watching for 9 minutes of everyone dying, just going.
If you don't have
Literally everyone to die.
if you don't have the Thanix cannon, if you don't have the good
I got the
armor,
armor shields. Yeah.
you're in trouble,
my
bro.
God. Absolutely.
I take it you guys all made it to the base and
brutal deaths.
you made it all to the base and saved the crew and Chakwas and all that, yeah?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did
I
you
wasn't-
do Shadow?
I
the
did.
DLC, yeah. That was different. That was brand new to me. I never played any of the DLC for Mass Effect 2.
Oh,
When it
wonderful.
came out. I missed it all. So that was a brand new experience, like freshly tread ground for me.
Because the
So-
Shadow Broker, he was slowly kind of built up, not just through the first game
Yeah.
as well, wasn't he? Yeah.
Mm.
He's got seeded a little bit, and then obviously you meet him and you kill him, because of course you do. Yeah, it's
It was interesting.
it's a good DLC pack.
So
It's a
he's
very good DLC.
the uplifted, genetically modified, like what was it? Like basically a rodent, wasn't he? Is that right?
He was just a
The guy looked like a friggin' demon. Okay.
no, he was just an alien race.
No, because if you read the backstory, he was uplifted to that point. He wasn't intelligent. He was like a prior to
No,
intelligent
no.
aliens, weren't they? Leah, help me
No.
out. here.
No, no,
Who
no.
am I
Very
thinking?
wrong.
I don't know what you're thinking of, but basically, his world is quarantined because they are all so aggressive on there. So
What am I
he was
thinking
taken as a pet,
All
but
right.
they didn't realise that he was already intelligent. So he killed the previous Shadow Broker and then became the Shadow Broker.
That's why I was.
Devoured every bit of knowledge he could come across, and because he was genius level intellect, he could become the Shadow Broker.
It was a Yarg race.
Yes.
That's
Which
it.
is kind of-
Dog.
Which is more of a onomatopoeic word, isn't it? Just as soon as you see his face, that's the noise you make. Yarg!
Yeah. Did you? I mean,
Um,
what did you guys think of that DLC? Look, at the time, heralded as probably when it came out, the best piece of DLC ever made. Shadow Broker.
That's epic, isn't it? I love that you get to see bits of Ilium that you haven't seen before as well.
It's a little bit obvious. New Spectre character unleashed. The second I saw her, I'm going to kill her. That's immediately the response, because it's obvious. Characters introduced in DLCs, you rarely fight alongside. You know, it's that typical trope of, oh look, she's arrived and she's being, oh, she said something slightly shifty. Where did I leave my gun? You know, that's the thought process. But
That
fighting
being
with the
said,
armor
though,
again
I
was
mean,
nice.
that fight that we had with oh god, I'm gonna Vasir? Was it Vasir?
I think that's the name. Yeah.
The oh goodness me, the actual
Spectre.
the Spectre lady, yeah, her. It's a really good boss fight. I really enjoyed having it. You know, you chase her around, you chase her through this almost Coruscant-like city. Reminded me of like Star Wars Episode 2 for a short time there, actually, when she's chasing her through there. And it was a really good boss fight, and that was like only like halfway through the mission, you know, which is really cool. And she was quite an interesting character as well. And I kind of wish I knew a bit more of her backstory. I probably have to read up.
There's
a little
certainly
bit
a
about
lot.
that, to be
There's a
honest,
lot to that DLC. It's intricate, lots of character work, lots of dialogue work, loads of new locations, and you know they put a lot of work into that DLC. Like it wasn't treated as like a throwaway where you know Arrival is maybe a bit slighter, but I actually really like Arrival as well. But yeah, Shadow Broker was mind blowing at the time. I remember doing that because obviously with the DLC, when I first played it, I would play it on a completed game, you know, on a finished run. So I'm going in max level. I've already done the suicide mission, so it's like coming back to those bits in pieces later. That Arrival in that respect was really good. Arrival works really well at the very end.
There's a
your
really
experience.
really cool bit. I don't know if you actually you did this, Rob, but you know when you finish the mission, you can enter Shadow Broker base with Amit Liara and everything. There's like video sequences that have been secretly recorded by like the entire station. Now, I found out about this from a friend because he went pure renegade, no Paragon whatsoever, as much as he could. Usually you can have an interview with the newscaster who kind of smears you a bit occasionally, but every game that he's had an interview with her, he has decked her in the face, full on smacking her. I've had enough of this crap. Bam. And I think it only works if you've decked her in the face before, because I couldn't punch her in this game, even though I was going renegade. However, I was quite happy to find in the video files she is interviewing interviewing an alien, and he decks her in the face for me. So I'm quite happy about that.
She
You
gets decked
still
in the
get
face a
decked.
lot. She gets decked
She
in the face.
does. At what point do you give up being, being a newscaster? Because I think she's actually interviewing a Krogan as well. So if there's one species you don't want to interview and get punched by, it's probably a Krogan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe I wouldn't mind a punch. Don't headbutt me, yeah. Because I feel like that's where the real pain's coming from. Like that's a lot of head.
That's a lot of head.
A lot
buddy.
of head. There's a lot of force coming in there. A charge at you. It's not great. So favorite. Come on. If you can't pick one, whatever. But favorite standout moments. Like what? There's so many. There's so many in Mass Effect 2. Like a loyalty mission or a moment or a dialogue moment. Like ones that really stick with you. That you, or in your case, Leah, like that you always look forward to on a replay.
Oh, blimey.
Everyone stand down.
He asks the hard questions, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Why you do this, bro?
I don't know. There's so many of them.
It's my standard.
You don't have to give me to think.
All right,
I
favorite
think-
thing.
I
think for
mean,
me-
I think for me was in that DLC is having Liara being an information hub to start with, and then she takes on the Shadow Broker identity.
Yeah.
Fantastic end to that little DLC. I don't know whether or not that's going to affect things in 3 because I didn't know there wasn't so huge ramifications from 1 into 2 that I felt. So I don't know if these sort of things are going to relay into 3 as well. You know? Yeah, that's a knowing giggle right there. She knows.
I can't wait to talk to you about the Star Child. But anyway.
Oh, is
What?
Kiss in the game?
Yeah.
The Star Child? I know nothing about the Star
I
Child.
mean,
This
yeah,
is
you
gonna
do.
be-
You've done 3. You know about the Star Child. You know about.
I've forgotten.
Probably
It's
block
very
that out,
much
yeah.
2, 3 for me. From my memories, 2 is the one that always stands out. I think for me the highlight is that final mission. Like there is no other mission in any video game that I have ever played that I can remember where I can feel the fact my pulse is up for playing it.
And it's not short.
No.
It goes
No.
on quite a while.
All the odds are stacked in my favour. I know that I will succeed in every way, but every single time a laser hits the Normandy and it goes through the shields,
You
we
go.
All right. So let's talk
thing has
about
that fact.
let's talk about the Reaper in the room. I mean, as a paraphrasing of the elephant in the room, but also because it's a Reaper in a room. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that boss fight? The justification for the Reaper being the way it is, and
Lackluster.
and the
I felt.
gameplay in that moment. It feels so fucking safe after taking so many risks. It feels like such a okay, we've got to have a boss fight. We've been told by, the creative director or EA or whoever, they want a boss. Any ideas? What about a giant human? What about the Terminator from T2? How about that? Like,
It makes a weird kind of sense,
yeah,
but
they
it's
give
still
it,
quite
they give
lame.
it, they give it a justification, don't they? About
Yeah.
it's been made from the genetic materials of humans, which is how Reapers are born. They come from the genetic material of harvested whoever's or whatever's, which does get explained further in Mass Effect 3, which is pretty cool when you do the Leviathan DLC, which I'm wondering if Rob has ever done or not, but he may not have done. So you'll be coming
the
to
Leviathan DLC.
might actually be even better than the Shadow Broker DLC.
Yeah.
Well,
from
just
a-
last night I
from a
did the
mythos
Omega DLC.
point of view. Anyway,
Sorry.
So yeah, any more thought? Like, it's very conventional, isn't it?
It's fine. Like I just collect a laser beamed it to death.
Yeah.
The second I got that heavy weapon, I didn't equip a single different one.
Oh no, I tried a couple. The arc heavy weapon was useful because it changed other people, but no, that collector rifle was just OP as fuck. I don't know. I'm one of those things. I always find that if there's a giant enemy as a boss in a video game where there doesn't necessarily need to be one, I feel like it's a bit of a cop
Bit cheap.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Bit of a cheat. I mean, for. I don't know if you guys ever played this one, but there was a Matrix game called The Path of Neo.
No, this
Remember
is
that one?
classic. This is the most classic example of it ever.
Giant trash agent Smith at the
Yeah.
end.
Yeah, Yeah, and like there's even like a little cutscene from the Wachowski brothers that had said like, "Hey, I know you guys just want a one-on-one with Smith, but we thought it would be cool if you just had like a big old mecha fight, basically." And then it happens. And you sort of just go, "The fuck happened?"
I love the audacity of them coming out and literally that cutscene and they break up. This isn't what happens in the film. However, we thought this would be more fun for the video game, and then you do it, and it's just like, okay, if you're gonna be that honest about it, I can't really feel sour about that. But yeah, that Reaper, like you guys, that's when the power weapon comes out. You've been saving that up for that fight, and it's just that, and then just melt it as quick as you can because it's got the moving platforms, it's got the multiple phases, it's got the ads you have to manage, it's got Harbinger, I think, in
manage
there, doing its
Nah,
bullets.
you just can full biotic throw them off the side.
Rob, just
ignore them.
Rob, just imagine out of the four of us, right? I'm the only one to have done that on Insanity. So just imagine what that was like on Insanity. Okay?
pretty insane.
Yeah, it's not
It
fun.
does
It's
sound
just
insane, yeah.
fucking tedious. So, yeah. What about Leah? Leah, you think it's alright? You think it works justifying in the law and stuff? You think that gets a pass from you?
I think it justifies to a certain point because I can understand. Oh yes, this is a race that has defied us, or the race that's the most important or the most there in the galaxy. So we will make the next Reaper out of that one. Why do we never see another Reaper that's a different shape? That's what gets me.
They're all demon squid,
Yes.
and it's a wonderfully menacing shape. But yeah,
like from a story perspective, I can only agree because these are probably the same Reapers from thousands of years ago that tried. I mean, I think they tried using Proteans as the source, didn't they, before, and it didn't work. So that's why they changed them into collectors.
That reveal is fucking brutal.
Wow,
That reveal.
I'd forgotten about that reveal. That was wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Sucks for them.
But I think that's why they kind of changed. Like, I don't know whether or not they're building it in the human shape, or this is the shape that is naturally forming.
No, it's because it's using
That's
human
the thing.
materials. Yeah, it's human genetic material. That's what they're harvesting people for. That's what your crew gets turned into if you're not quick enough.
But that's the thing.
They get
That's what I'm
mulched.
wondering. So, like, the Reapers are these like bioorganic, like metallic creatures, right? So, like, are they grown or are they built?
Both.
Because if they're
Both.
so, if they are they naturally assuming this human shape then, or is it just because that's the genetic makeup of human beings?
Is that like Harbinger? Well, I've got this plan. It looks a lot like a human. What do you think?
Hey, yeah, you look at the Cylons, and they did a human Cylon.
Talking of human Cylons, I just had one there talking to me for some reason. That was very creepy. As soon as you said Cylons, my Alexa kicked off. Oh my god, they're assuming control. But yeah, I that boss fight, after so much 10 out of 10, you get an 8 out of 10, and it's like, oh.
It's fine. Like,
Yeah.
it's a decent enough boss fight. It's a horrifying conclusion to what's being used, because you're not killing a Reaper, you're killing people. You're destroying what's left of humanity that has been abducted and collected away. And that's meaningful enough. There's enough of an impact there. It's a very fairly generic boss fight, but that sequence just had to have a boss at the end. It had to have something waiting. It couldn't just be, you've gone and you planted the bomb, everything boom, because the stakes, they don't lead to anything. There has to be that pinnacle at the
not
end,
as if-
big thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as if like you can just like take on the Harbinger at that point. After all, you've shot him numerous times when he takes control of other collectors.
Could you
Exactly.
not have done
I
that?
think
Could you not have fought? You never fight Harbinger one-on-one, do you? Like the proper creature. You only ever fight his
The actual Reaper. No.
Yeah, it's a Reaper that's taking control of one of the collectors, and that collector is going into different collectors. Fighting another Reaper could have been interesting, but how you would do that on a person-to-person basis when they're giant squid ships?
No, I
no
meant Harbinger, which is
Oh,
also
like the-
but actually,
yeah.
because you see him as like he's like a big collector, isn't he? Like a big head.
Yeah,
you
but
not
I
have-
don't think he's a fighty one, is he? He's just
Yeah,
like a
pushy
lots of little pushy button.
I like that. I mean,
collector.
it all adds to the mythos and the lore of the Reapers. Obviously, with Sovereign, which was a Reaper itself, you know, which was the reveal. It wasn't just a ship, and then of course now we've got another Reaper inhabiting the collectors / Protheans and stuff. You know, doing his thing or her, whatever I say his, but you know, its their thing. And I think that's fascinating. Another form of like non-direct influence, which I think is really interesting and different, and just builds to their menace, doesn't it? And obviously we're going to get the payoff to that in a big way with 3. It don't waste any time given
No.
that. You're straight into war mode in 5 minutes in, aren't you? Cameron, you did say you had already started it, didn't you? So the beginning.
I literally, I think I'm probably only like I'm like 1 FMV through, and then I just assumed control of Shepard. So
I think already at that point you've seen
we're
him.
already fucked. Yes.
Yeah.
Enough said.
I think it's worth, because obviously I
question.
can. Oh yeah.
So when Harbinger does that thing of releasing control of the Collector General, did anyone else find that really, really sad? Because it kind of, the creature, once it's released, is kind of like alone and but like almost lost and confused and yet resigned, because it kind of turns its head away. I just thought that was really sad.
Well, it's a puppet with its strings cut. It no longer has a purpose. It no longer has. There's nothing. Whatever it was before is long gone, I suspect, at that point, and it's just. I
don't know. I just feel it has enough to be sad.
No, absolutely,
It makes
it's
me
really
wonder-
tragic. Everything's tragic about this fucking game.
Yeah.
Tragedy everywhere. Tragedy 24/7. Sorry, Mark.
It makes me wonder how much the Collector actually knew what it was doing, and how much it wanted to do what it was doing, and how long Harbinger has been sat there going, "You're going to do this now."
Yeah, but you have to remember the collectors are Reaper fucked with Prothean, so they're probably not.
Yeah.
They're not like ever going to have been good. Like they've been designed.
I was
be
never intimating
fodder.
that they were good,
Yeah.
but it's more how much of a free will and awareness did Harbinger have, or how did the Collector General have, before Harbinger removed itself and went, "You're going to die."
Well,
You're
maybe
useless
it's
now."
even worse than that. Maybe it's a parallel to think with Grunt. So it's never had existence without that. So in that moment, it
control.
finally has its own self, like Grunt coming out of the tank. But in this poor thing's situation, it's dead within a minute of finally being its own thing. So yeah, this game, this is what I'm talking about. Like, it's interesting because you don't come away feeling play Mass Effect 2 and be like, oh my god, that was just miserable, do you? I mean,
It's such a light game until you take
very
an outside perspective and realize how dark this game is.
Like so dark. Every single arc, every single character, every single story beat is dripping in tragedy and struggle and strife and misery, and it's just it's weird because if you look at it analytically, you're like, how does this work? How is this fun? And yet, boy oh boy, is it fun blasting aliens and robots in the face.
Borderline grimdark at this point,
Yeah.
considering the amount of darkness in this game.
Yeah.
And yet we're all sat here going, "Oh my fucking god, it's amazing."
It's the deft touch of the writing. I think it's BioWare at its peak when it comes to writing and dialogue. They've never been better.
Misery loves company.
They're just it's real, isn't it? It just the moments feel real. The characters feel real, and like unlike probably 99% of other RPGs, they don't just feel like ciphers for archetypes. They feel like fully fleshed out characters because of the structure of the game, because of those intro and then loyalty missions, because of the incidental dialogue when you talk to them after missions. You get to know them, and you care about them, and it's remarkable how well it's done. It really, really is. You got to tip a hat to them. Like, honestly, pinnacle. Some of the pinnacle game design and writing. Like, there really isn't any better. I guess it's just nuts how good it is.
It's the design of everything as well. Like, I think one thing that stands out for me, I don't know if I mentioned this in Mass Effect 1, but it's the design of the Reaper. That there are very few things that properly scare me or I have a proper phobia of in this world. There are things I have a healthy respect for, like tarantulas. They can stay over there. I'm quite fine with them being on the other side of the room while I'm over here. I'm not going to annoy it if it doesn't annoy me, right? There comes an exception to that when it comes to squid, because of a random documentary I watched feeding frenzy things off New Mexico, whatever, right? The design they put together for the Reapers is so menacing. This hand that just reaches down to then destroy. It's the design on that is just amazing. I love it.
It's like a hand of God moment sort of thing, isn't it?
I would say you should look up, but you probably shouldn't. I think even more than squid, it's a cuttlefish. And if you've never seen cuttlefish,
are fine.
It's a cuttlefish.
It is like a cuttlefish, yeah. It's that sort of shape.
That
just
design, but
yeah,
but robotized and just other. I think it's the otherness, isn't it? It feels truly alien. Like, and I think that's the problem with design in sci-fi sometimes, because obviously it's being designed by a human. We struggle to really convey truly alien, and I think they do a great job of making something so other that is just inherently terrifying. Is because how can you like it from the first game when that conversation with Sovereign, when Shepard's trying to grasp its motives, it's just like, don't even try, mate. Like, why are you even trying? I have been around literally forever. You will never understand our motives. It's really irrelevant to you. All you can understand is the outcome, which is extinction, right?
Yeah.
And death. That's all you can grasp. But why we're doing it, like, don't even bother. Like,
because fuck you. That's why.
Because that's how it is. That's how it is. And I love that, and it's just a pure threat, isn't it? And yeah, three gives us that. Well, I look forward to next week. Well, I was gonna say that, but I'm looking forward to talking about it next week. Yeah, definitely. I'm really looking forward to talking about that. I've got to hurry up and get into it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about it, but at the same time, 3 is my most stressful one.
Well, yeah, we'll I don't want to say any more. I don't want to say more.
No, I'll wait until next
save
time.
that. Anything, you guys? Any last final thoughts, moments, memories, smells?
I think I've come up with my. It's not a moment, or maybe like a series of moments.
You never said yours. Yeah.
So I think it's the when you meet the characters that you've met from Mass Effect 1. So especially, I think my standout one is when you find out that Archangel is Garrus. I love that. But even so, when you meet Tali on Freedom's Progress, and just those little moments of, oh, you were dead, etc. And I love those little moments. And even when you meet Caden / Ashley and he's all like having a hump with you and whatnot, it's still, meeting those things again. Yeah.
It's meeting Rex and he's just sat on a fucking throne. And you're just like, you baller. You absolute G. Nice one.
I mean, it's like, Ash / Caden, they're off doing a mission. Tali's back with the migrant fleet. Garrus is shooting a few thugs on Omega, like, whatevs. What's Rex doing? He's a fucking king. Like, baller, mother trucker. He's stepped up.
I actually, that's one where I really did enjoy, was seeing the migrant fleet. Some more full background.
More Quarians.
Quarian.
Quarians,
yes,
cool.
That was really cool.
Admiral Thus Quib.
Tragic. Jesus Christ, can you get more tragic than the Quarian backstory? I mean, Christ. Those
you're
boys
just
went
a down
through
mood
it.
Today, aren't you, Ben?
I just think it's fascinating that a game like a game so on the surface heavy can be also so amazing and fun and just like it's a remarkable.
You say on a downer there, Cameron. All of us are excited talking about this.
I'm
excited
to start 3. I really am. I mean, they've just landed, and I'm like, I need to play this. And quite fitting that the 3rd game, it could potentially be the last podcast for me, depending on how we have our schedule set, Ben. So this could be a fitting episode we have next week.
Yep. I mean, I don't think it'll be the end forever, but yeah, for a little while until we work things out. Absolutely. But no, unless any final bits from anyone else, I don't want to like cut this short for the sake of it. I love talking about 2. It's probably my favourite game of all time. As part of my favourite series of all time, so I never get tired of talking about Mass Effect. So if there's anything else,
I'm just wondering. I mean, what, do you find any moments? I mean, true moments in this game that you found were really controversial, or any choices you made felt really controversial? You know, whether you went against the grain completely or anything like that.
that what didn't feel fitting, sort of thing. Or...
Yeah, I guess.
Have you got something? Have you got something, or is it a loaded question, or like I can't?
It just felt like things like you know, I mean, I made the choice, for example, of you know, keeping the Geth and reintegrating the what were they called, the heretics back into the Geth for the good of the Geth. I made the choice of keeping the research to save the Krogan from the Genophage, you know, through Morden's slaughter message. So I felt like those were, you know, especially in like the universe we're in, the choices had already been made. You know, the choice had been made for the good of the galaxy that the Krogan should be kept to a minimum. You know, these heretics, these Geth who were just attacked and tried to destroy the entire Citadel in the first game should all die. But I made the choice to keep these heretics and reintegrate them back into their society. I thought were really controversial choices.
I can't wait to see how you wrestle with some of the choices. Great.
Great. Now I'm worried about my entire playthrough. I'm just wondering if any of you guys thought like if there were any other choices in the game.
I'm just gonna say. Really... I'm just gonna. I don't think I'm gonna answer that, Cam, but I'm gonna say 3 words. Okay. Red, blue, green. It will all make sense. It will all make sense. But no, I like what you're saying. I see where you're coming from though, and it's like, yeah, you were talking about these huge choices with huge ramifications that implicitly are undoing perhaps choices previously made inside of the universe, and I think it's great, isn't it? A great feeling to have that player agency and to feel like, you know, you're undoing the wrongs that have been maybe written before, and it's interesting as well as you are ostensibly trying to play Renegade, but you can't help yourself. You end up doing the right things. So I think that's really that speaks to the power of the characters and the story that you can't. That's why it's what was the statistic I gave you? 87% or something play Paragon in Mass Effect. Rob, remember that came from the developer because you can't be Renegade. You can't do Renegade because it's like. You care too much. You can't help but give a shit. So it's like that. Well done, BioWare. I mean, Christ.
They did some other stats. Tali is confirmed the favourite companion.
Ooh.
In 2 or in general?
In general,
Wow.
I believe.
It's that purple ass, mate.
Sorry, but it's the rate that
Hips
Shepard
for
gets around. I'm pretty
days.
sure an SDI would actually kill Tali, wouldn't it?
Probably.
If I can cure the genophage, reintegrate the Greth, I can sort out their bad immune system, right? I'm just.
I thought you were going to say I can cure gonorrhea, but okay. That's good.
Well, it's about their immune systems, isn't it? Because they've been living on the migrant fleet. I reckon we can fix that. Take off a mask.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
There it is.
Good times.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. Anybody? Anything else?
I'd just like to give a shout out to just the general voice acting in it.
Absolutely.
And I'm especially thinking of the Quarians, and I've forgotten her name, but the lady who plays Shalaran, her auntie, who's also in The Expanse.
I know
Yeah.
who you mean.
I know who you
She's
mean.
in it. I'd forgotten she was.
on her own.
Plays Avasarala in The Expanse.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's who you mean. Because
Yeah.
what other voice actor could you be talking about from The Expanse?
Yeah.
Because that woman's
Yeah.
voice is insane. She's also in Destiny and plays that robot future war cult leader.
Lakshmi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the same voice.
I know who you're talking about. She's got such a distinctive
Nice.
voice
Yeah.
and accent.
Incredible voice.
Yeah.
I think Cameron is googling at the moment, so we shall vamp until he has the answer. The complexity that Quarry
Sora Agdashlu, I think you find her name is,
Easy for
and
you
I'm
to say.
very sorry if I pronounced that wrong.
If.
Yeah, I did. Okay.
It's
But no, it's one of those. Lakshmi 2 in Destiny. She does not a lot of video games, but she has a very prominent voice about her.
Mm.
You know, I don't know anybody else has a voice like her. But yeah, Seth Green did fantastic. I mean, because you guys play Paragon, you probably don't get that very often. But I've looked it up when I look at different videos of different choices, and I've always found Renegade Male Shep. The voice acting doesn't seem to be quite as good as Renegade Femshep.
The voice acting isn't as good.
If you get a chance, just look up Femshep Renegade, and some of the voice acting you get from that is just cool.
Femshep is brilliant.
Jennifer Hale is just the voice acting, and
She's-
she
She's better.
sounds more badass than Renegade Male Shep. I don't know why.
He's just a
She
bit
is.
generic. He's just generic white guy voice, isn't he? Like male Shep. Like
I like Leah's answer
Yeah.
there. She just is.
she's just
Just is.
she's badass. She is badass. It's true.
Yeah.
She's very cool. She's very cool. Like I've seen her in interviews. She's a very cool person. Yeah.
Yeah, and when I think it was either just as it was announced or just before Legendary Edition was announced, she organised some of the original cast or the voice actors to come back, and she's the one who organised it, and she is just amazing.
They did a bunch of
I love her.
line and scene readings, and it was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah,
Really good.
yeah.
You might want to check that out on YouTube if you can.
Yeah.
It's very good. Cool. Anything else? I want to keep asking because I don't really want this. to
I could talk forever
I know.
about it.
I know.
I really could.
This is-
No, the Hammerhead.
Did you guys? All right. Did you guys miss the Mako, and did you guys enjoy the Hammerhead?
Oh,
I
yeah,
certainly-
that thing.
Well, you heard my gripes I had with the Mako's physics in the first game.
Gripes?
So...
It's incredible.
Well, yeah, the fact that it
Really
can flip upside down 180 degrees and still land on its wheels.
Tony effect.
Perfect.
Mass Hawk. It's just incredible. I love my skills in the Mako. Hey, oh man. Did you like the Hammerhead? I think the Hammerhead's kind of wank, personally.
That whole DLC could have not been a thing. It added so little. It was just vehicles for vehicle's sake, and it was irritating. I regret the time I spent in that portion of the game because,
Firewalker.
yeah, no, not interested.
Do you like it for when you lose it in the Overlord DLC? And did you like the Overlord DLC?
I think I did Overlord before Firewalker.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That must have made no sense. Okay.
Agreed. I just took it at face value.
Overlord's good DLC though. I like that one. It's all about the AI stuff and
Yeah.
Now that I thought that was really, again, another dark ending to that series. I mean, I chose to save him, at the end there. But wow, I didn't see that coming.
God, yeah.
I did the whole experimental VI, and it was. Yeah, it was. I looked at it and I was just like, that's almost sickening. To a point of what happened
when you
there.
see him at the end, and there's all those tubes everywhere.
The
eyes are blood
Yeah.
red because they've been
Yeah.
forced open for hours and days and months, and you're just like,
Wow.
Jesus Christ, yeah, absolutely brilliant. I really enjoyed that DLC. Strangely enough, didn't know it was DLC though. So
Yeah.
the missions just appear. I don't know what came. Oh look, podcast cat. There he is.
Oh.
Yeah, I just went down a mission log and was like, cool, Overlord's next, do Overlord.
To do this one.
Yeah. And then, Firewalker, do Firewalker. It just was what it was.
Absolutely.
And what it was awesome.
Well,
sure
the
was.
Overlord bit, yes.
I mean, in general. I'm talking about Mass Effect.
Yeah.
In general, Mass Effect 2.
Yeah.
But Cam, where's it fitting in your pantheon of games? Top 5, top 10, top 3?
Oh,
Not even
goodness
there?
me. No, you know what? It's going to be one of those top okay, it's difficult to say because I play so many games as well, like on like PC and stuff as well. So like in my entire like life,
Yeah,
I'd still say top 10.
that's pretty good.
Maybe I'd probably say 2 is in at least top 5, but as a series in the top like 3 guaranteed.
And you've not even done the third one yet. That's pretty good.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Basically, might drop down to 4, might go up to 2. We'll never know.
Yeah, I think Mass Effect 2 should.
Find out next
Mass Effect 2's got to be in pretty much everyone's. You played that game, it's got to be in your top 5, isn't it? I mean, it's my number 1, but I mean, I think it's got to be in your top 5, isn't it? Hasn't it?
It's,
Rob?
it's definitely a series that's worth replaying in a different way.
I've replayed it every
Absolutely.
year ever since it came out.
I hadn't replayed it at all. I had forgotten quite how good Mass Effect 2 was. But I literally have not picked up another video game since Mass Effect Collection came out, and I spent the longest time with 2 and did not regret a second.
Same. I checked my my logs of like my game save, and I spent 36 hours on Mass Effect 2. According to my game save, and this is despite the fact that I have received at least 3 games from friends and family as late birthday presents. So I have other games I can play. I do not want to play other games.
Right then. Well, with that, I think on that note, I'm going to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a
for
good
it.
place.
Wise, because otherwise I think we're going to keep talking.
Yeah,
Yes,
with
yeah.
3 hours
Yeah.
later.
And I want to play more Mass Effect 3,
Unfortunately-
goddammit.
Not only that, and I think Leah will just get darker and darker and darker.
She's
until
going.
she
She
does
is
a
going
complete
full
black.
renegade. Like that's
She
what I'm
is going
seeing.
full renegade. That actually, I forgot to mention that. I don't know if this was actually just me looking at it wrong or not, but renegade, Shep, my scars, which I didn't heal, seem to get bigger.
Oh no,
Yes.
they do.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah,
intentional.
They
on
do.
purpose.
Okay,
Yeah.
I thought I was going nuts.
No, you end up having like
No.
glowing hell face. Yeah.
That's gameplay design.
Yeah, especially if you
Yeah,
didn't heal
that
them.
was
I mean,
good.
what the hell? Okay.
I thought,
Anyway.
well, why heal them? I thought, why not?
Why heal them? 'Cause
I
you look
like
like a
badass.
weird Sith user. I don't know. Right. I am going to wrap this up now, Cammy. I will not let you interrupt me again. But that has been Mass Reflect Part 2, in which we dissected and looked back at fondly on Mass Effect 2. Final episode next week where we look at Mass Effect 3. I can't wait to hear all your thoughts and opinions. I'm really excited to talk to you all
I'm
about
hoping I
that.
finish this one in time.
Give it your best shot. Like that's all we can ask for. I mean, I woefully let the squad down here with number 2, so I've got to try and power through and get to 3, at least to refresh my memory a little on that. Get best game of all time, and I think give us a like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video. If not, please check out our podcast, which can be found anywhere a good podcast can be found. You can follow me at DIYE on Twitter. You can find Rob at Homeless Mr. Gibbs, and you can find Cameron at Camelot on Twitter. Collectively, we can be found at Experience Kills. Also follow us on Twitch and leave us a comment, a tweet, whatever. Let us know if you're enjoying this. That'd be great. Leah isn't on Twitter. She's a private individual. But she'll be back for the final episode of this as well in a week's time. So until then, guys, let's get back on board the Normandy and let's go save this goddamn galaxy.
Ila
Let's get back to probing.
Hashtag live the pro.
What was the hashtag meant to be again, Ben? Probing for life.
Let's live to pro, baby. Live to pro.
Live to probe!